So what is the essential need of freedom and liberty in relation to our happiness? We have around the world many people who have had less than desirable relationships with um, people in their own family, whether it be living members or deceased members. Many have had less than desirable relationships with them. It is often, well, it is essential for us to understand what is needed at heart to learn to love the other person completely. And I'm going to share with you a recent experience of mine, and I'm going to relate the essence of it to what's going on nationally right now. Kind of a weird thing. Anyhow, in my faith, we do work ordinances, if you will, for our family members who have died. We believe that, at death, you don't just crumble into nothingness. You continue on. Your spirit continues on. The very essence of what you have built up over your life, the things that you have learned, even your habits, your desires, those things you take with you. And we believe that, it's not a matter of when you die, you're damned either heaven or hell. It's a matter of you continue learning, you continue to expand. I believe that yes, one must be baptized in the name of Jesus Christ by proper authority in order to enter the great gates of heaven. Many people would call that injustice, something from an unjust God. And if I didn't know what I know now, I would agree with you. On the surface, that would be unjust. Consider all the many billions of people that have ever lived on the earth who have never heard of Jesus Christ. Do we automatically cut them down to nothingness simply because they had no knowledge? No. When we die, we continue learning. We continue learning, growing, accepting and rejecting new understandings. And so yes, in my faith we do baptisms for those of our family lines that have passed on, that have not had that opportunity to accept or reject the gospel. And I can't stress how vitally important that is, and I'm going to tell you why. Have you ever been put in a situation where you had no alternative, no other choice given to you? What did that feel like in your bosom? What did that feel like? For me, it feels like I'm trapped in a corner. To me, it feels like I'm hunted. Like there's only one true outcome to what's going to happen, and that is my demise. We are happiest when we have freedom. We are happiest when we have liberty. We are freest when we have choice. That is where our happiness lies, is in the wide array of choices. And, you know, that's what um, takes place at our temples, if you will, when we do this work for those who have died. Just recently, I took care of some baptisms for a grandmother of mine, for a mother in law, and also for a grandfather of mine. I have the assurance to know now that they are no longer trapped in a corner. Their progress is no longer hindered. It is no longer stayed where it's at. There comes a point where either the door in front of you needs to be opened or one of the walls that you're cornered at needs to come down in order for you to be free. So I now have the sacred assurance of knowing that I have a grandmother and a grandfather who are now free to advance and to accept or reject new truths, along with a mother-in-law. And that's what's at heart. It's not so much whether they accept or reject certain things that they're taught, because that's a personal choice. We make that choice every single day. What matters is that we are affording another person that grand liberty of choice. That's what's important. And I'm going to relate this to what's going on in uh, the United States today. I'm not even going to bother saying the world, because right now we've got some problems in the United States. Right now we have the Affordable Care Act in place. It is causing extreme hardship and havoc throughout all sectors of society. On the face, social order, aka socialism, has a pretty face. You know, everybody chips in for the common good, the common cause. That's understandable, and that, like I said, on the face looks all well and good. And that's exactly what's happening here. We are astronomically taxing regular people who have health care in their plans through work usually, and we are shifting that wealth to a very small sector that do not have health care, and a lot of which have extreme uh, medical needs. I've said it before, but the United States is the most charitable humanitarian nation on the earth. Just look at the record of what all has been given, and that's not a matter of pride. I'm illustrating something. Illustrating. We didn't need to reinvent the wheel. And what we have done is we invented a wheel that is flat. It is not round. We could have easily taken care of this small sector that does not have health care. We could have easily taken care of that through the free market it wasn't good enough before, the president should have, rallied the market so that they would take things under their wing and make things available, make programs available for these individuals. You do not reinvent the wheel. How does this relate to the experience that I had at the temple? Let me get to that. You are sabotaging the giver and the receiver. You are sabotaging their happiness and their progression. Why? Well, on the part of the giver, you grow and you learn and you are happiest and you do more good when it's done by your own free will. You need to be free. You need to have that liberty to choose, hey, I have X amount of dollars. I want to apply it in the direction of my choice. You will gain much less results when it is compelled or forced upon you by mandates, especially from legislated mandates. Now you sabotage the receiver because though not only are you directing the attention of the receiver into thinking that they are entitled to the wealth of the other sector, they also become less appreciative of it. They begin to gain the idea that it's mine, it's entitled to me. And by legislation, that's true. But there is a severe disconnect that you have caused between the receiver and the giver. And the receiver will not acknowledge, will not see, and it won't even come to their mind the sacrifice of the giver on their behalf. So you condemn both parties. You condemn the free will, the free will of the giver, because it isn't free will. It is mandated. He cannot choose what he's going to do with his funds. And you condemn the receiver because they cannot choose to fully appreciate. And even more, they cannot choose to work towards providing for themselves. We were never meant to be a gimme species. We were meant to work and labor for our own good. But there are those who cannot work, and their health care could have easily been taken care of through the private sector. Sure, it may have needed some tweaking and some programs enhanced, but you don't reinvent the wheel and totally trash the economy of the United States. And so I hope I've illustrated, a very sacred experience of mine, along with what's going on in the nation today, because it was a blessing to me to go to the temple and do that work. It was a sacrifice. I drove a long way. I took time out of my day to do this for something I feel strongly for. And on their end, they now have, they now have the freedom and liberty and the choice to expand, grow, and be happy. Freedom, liberty, choice are essential things given to us by God for our happiness. Let's learn from it.